What's going on, everybody? How you doing out there? It's your boy DMV. We have a great show for you guys today. I got Kyle Youmans from the Dallas Cowboys. He's sitting in the green room right now. Look, well, not necessarily a green room, but he's in, I guess, maybe his own living room. Straight out, he's in Oxnard covering the Cowboys for those who have been, tuning into Training Camp Live and all of the other things from DallasCowboys.com. So I'm going to bring him in and give him a warm welcome. All right. How you doing, Kyle? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I hope my connection's good enough. I feel like my connection's pretty spotty right now. So if it's bad, let me know, and I might be able to switch it up. But I'm happy to be able to join you.
I appreciate it. And it's actually crazy. Like, do you ever turn off that radio voice, or you just walk
Uh,
around with it?
no, this is kind of the normal go-to. I mean, of course, I kind of project a little bit more whenever I'm talking to a microphone than maybe normal, but I mean, this is the voice. This is what what I get around with normally. So if people think that I'm working with a fake voice, they're wrong. They can pretty much come talk to me anytime, and I'll tell them the same thing.
All right, cool. So, a little background about me. Like, I'm just a small YouTuber. I've been covering the Cowboys for a couple of years. Um, and ultimately, I just love the game and, glad to have you aboard. So, can you, like, just give the people who will watch this or the people that are on right now just a brief introduction to how you really just got started with the Cowboys?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I've always really wanted to do this, really since I was a kid. I always kind of wanted to be in the sports media if I wasn't playing itself. I've always loved football. I've always loved baseball. I played baseball all the way up until college, and baseball was always kind of the number one goal. But I grew up a big Cowboys fan and a big college football fan. So uh, kind of went through a stint working in the radio business. Worked had a TV or not, excuse me, not a TV show, a radio show down in Waco for a little bit. Did some minor league baseball play by play. I've always been a freelance play by play announcer, and I do a lot of ESPN regional stuff and do some Fox regional stuff as well. But man, the opportunity just kind of presented itself to come and be a production assistant with the Cowboys and kind of get in on the back end. And a friend of mine who worked for the team already had kind of reached out and said, "Hey, I know you're looking for a new baseball job, but until you find one, I know you're not a behind the scenes person, but hey, uh, this is a position that's open and to get your foot in the door." So I took it, just kind of waited for my opportunity, and an opportunity came with the draft show last year. And like I said, I grew up a big Cowboys fan and big college football fan, and I've always loved the NFL draft. I mean, I've only officially covered it for two drafts, but man, I've done little stuff like that all the way back until like 2010, because that's just always kind of the stuff that I wanted to do as a nerdy sports draft nut. So that was kind of the initial one, and then just took advantage of the opportunities that came my way, and I'm extremely blessed to be where I am and to have this spot. I don't take a day for granted, and I just want to keep putting out great content, much like you guys do.
Yeah. So I guess what's it like, being on the draft show and having to feel the, I guess maybe the shoes of Brian Broaddus, because Brian Broaddus like had. I mean, I've been a big fan of the draft show for years. Actually, that's actually how I really got into draft coverage for the most part, because of the draft show and Brian and all those guys. So what does that feel like? I guess maybe stepping in there and having to just have those responsibilities.
Yeah, it's tough because there's no actual feeling the shoes of Brian Broaddus. I mean,
Yeah.
Brian is a former scout. He had been in those draft rooms. He has so much knowledge. He has so much drive. And you see that firsthand. And really, the best thing I could have done at that point was just learn, was soak up everything that he says. I still do this the whole time. I mean, anytime that he's telling a story or he's describing a player, I take mental notes, and I learned from him along the way. And he was super supportive, really, from the get go. Whenever I stepped in and started hosting the draft show, and I mean, like I said, I'm never going to fill the shoes of Brian Broaddus, but that was tough because that was
Yeah.
kind of what a lot of Cowboys fans said. I mean, they were at first they were like, "Who is this guy? Why is he telling me what I need to think about in terms of the draft. And it was hard for me to kind of establish myself. I don't even know if I still have established myself. I have a long way to go in that regard, and I try and get better every day at it. But man, it really, like I said, it really was a blessing to even get the opportunity to talk with Cowboys fans, to interact and be a part of a show like that, because there is such a great following for the draft show. There's such a great following for Talking Cowboys and really anything we do on the website. So it is a ton of fun. And I have a blast with it, and I have a blast working with those guys. I mean, Brian, Jeff, Dave, KT, Dane. I mean, they're as good as it gets in terms of draft coverage and coverage of the Cowboys and the NFL in general. So, I just try and soak up as much as I can and kind of follow along for the ride, but I have fun while doing it.
All right. Sorry if you see me looking down because I have my buddy Elton. He's joining in a little bit, but we're having some technical difficulties. And like my guy Mark Holmes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mark Holmes, but he always says, I have broke ass media. So, a lot of us have that. So we're just trying.
Same here.
Trial and error, So, I mean, pretty much, working with the guys you talked about, Hellman, Nick Eatman. But a bigger question for me is because this guy, when it comes to Cowboys media, is probably like one of my heroes. He's probably one of the reasons that I even really got into this is Derek Eagleton. What's it like working for him? That's the big boss and everything. So,
it's fantastic. I've been around a lot of really good bosses in my time and guys who have been like that, but he's not just a boss, he's a leader. And he's somebody that you want to go into battle with, and you want on your side whenever things go good and go bad at the same time. And he's such a calm under pressure. He's got so many bright ideas, and he really does bring it. It's fun to work with him. Every day is different, and he really allows everybody that's underneath him to play to their strengths and to show off their creativity and really do a lot of good things. And like I said, he was one of the guys, or he was the guy who ultimately said, "Hey, Kyle, you can hop on and do this draft show." And that was a big step for me in my career. And so I always have him to thank for that. But I mean, even beyond that, I've learned so much from him. I love kind of having the back and forth and hearing his ideas and bouncing ideas off of him, and him tweaking different things about what I do and what we do as a content team and stuff. He does a really good job, and he's done a good job for a while. There's a reason why he has that VP title, and everybody does, like you said, look up to him, because I know I certainly do as a young broadcaster in the business. He is somebody that I want to continue to learn from, and I want to continue to have that friendship and that relationship with in the workplace, because he really does do a great job, and I can't wait to see where he takes this content department.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've really been a big follower, probably for over a decade, as far as like Cowboys media, watching Talking Cowboys lunch break, when they changed all the names and all of that type of stuff. So I've been a fan for quite a while, and to see where it's grown from, because I remember when the break just used to be where you only could listen. You couldn't see anybody in the studio. And now you can see people in the studio, and they can kind of, have transitions to videos of people in camp and all of that type of stuff. So just being able to see that grow has been, crazy for me. And it's actually crazy that I get to talk to some of you staffers, because I've actually had Rob on the show one time. And, it would be great if in the future I could have both of you guys on at the same time. That'd be great.
Sure.
Yep. And I got my guy Elton, and I'm going to try and add him in, as, Are you there, Elton? Okay, let me see, because like I said, we're broke ass media over here. All right, I think we got 3 of us in here. All right,
I have like the worst Wi-Fi connection in the world, and I'm at training camp, so I feel your pain.
So Mr. Jones, can you guys it's AT&T, that's why you guys need Verizon.
Oh, I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just the hotel Wi-Fi. It's the worst.
Yeah. So being that you've been at a couple of camps, would you say that this camp feels different?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I think overall, just because of the protocols, because of the setup, I think, of the entire camp and kind of the way that things are organized, it is different, and there's not as much access to players. I'm sure fans can attest to that have come out here to Oxnard, because there's been crazy amounts of fans. They've been
Uh-huh.
fantastic, and they haven't had that same opportunity to meet the players and to get autographs and to kind of just be around the Cowboys. It has been a lot of fun, and it's great to have it back to football, but it's just not all the way there yet. I mean, we're still doing some social distancing. We still have the little
Yeah.
connects on clickers that they have for the players and stuff, and we still have to get those every day. And even testing. I mean, there's testing for everybody that's here every once in a while, and for those that are vaccinated or not vaccinated, you have to test every day. If you're a player, if you're a staff member, you're not even here if you're not vaccinated. So it does really have an interesting wrinkle, and it's something that the Cowboys and the NFL hasn't really had before. But it is nice to just get back to football and to have the fans around, because that really has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the camp feels different, more so from a competitive standpoint. Like I just
Mhm.
think that guys are a little bit more hungry, especially on the defensive side of the ball. With a lot of 1 year deals, a lot of young guys coming in. There's you know, you may not get if you get a rep here, you may not get it back. So you actually have to really compete. Seeing CeeDee Lamb
Mhm.
and Diggs go at it. That's something. Diggs is actually
Man,
from the area. He's from this area, so I'm
yeah.
always rooting for him. So
He's man, those two have been nuts to watch go back and forth at it. I mean, they were as talented as advertised, and as I think they have a little bit of chip on their shoulder with it being like a first round pick last year and the second round pick last year of the draft class, and I think
yeah,
they kind of use that as competition and as fuel. But man, that's gonna be a fun matchup to watch in practices for a good amount of time until tomorrow, and then we get to see Jalen Ramsey and CeeDee Lamb go at it, and I think that one would be a ton of fun as well.
yeah. And when I actually watched them two going at it, I imagine that the practices between Michael Irvin and not to say that these
Mhm.
guys are Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders, but I heard that those
It's got that
practices.
feel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Kathy, one of my loyal listeners, has a question, and it kind of is a segue into what my question was, and it's like, what did you all think of the game last night? And so I was going to ask you, like, what are your big takeaways from it?
Well, the first thing is they came out without any big time injuries, and Mike McCarthy said that to a small
Yeah.
group of media members earlier. Was hey, there was a couple things that popped up, little nagging things, but ultimately we got out healthy, and there weren't any big time injuries, and that's a huge win for a team that, of course, had to deal with that all last year. Also, I think you got to see a ton of really meaningful snaps for some of the young guys. I mean, Terrence Steele played a lot of the game. Brandon Knight and Matt Farniak played
Mm.
62 snaps last night. Reggie Robinson saw the majority of his action period. He had one snap last year in the regular season at corner, and he had, I think, 34 last night, and had a forced fumble in the game as well. So I liked the young rotation that they put in last night, and I think overall they did a nice job and kept things right. But man, really was a sloppy game, but that's what you kind of expect from it being the first preseason. There's Elton.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
I
There
think
you go.
I think I found a good Wi-Fi spot in the bathroom.
What's going on, man? So look, we were just in the middle of takeaways from the game, man. What were your big takeaways from the game yesterday?
They actually need to leave Ben in Canton.
Yes,
They
sir.
they actually can get rid of what is his name? Now it's found the kicker.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him kicking where it was like the old Madden meter or whatever, and it was all the way over there. Yeah, that was, yeah, it was pretty bad memes. You know what I'm saying? Pretty bad memes. My guy Ben DiNucci was out there throwing paper airplanes.
Mhm.
Throughout the whole. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is we get an opportunity to look at him, and last year we didn't really get to see that with COVID. Now, when Mike McCarthy or Zeke tells us things like, "Oh, he has a deep ball," like we get an opportunity to look at it and say, "That ain't what you told me." But it's all good, man. my big takeaways from the game yesterday were that the defense really flew around. Early on, we struggled a little bit on the edge, but I think for the most part, the push up the middle was pretty good. The secondary, the young guys are they might be ready. They might be. I mean, I'm not going to push them. Deshaun Wright, Boss Man Fat. They really went out there and they competed, and I like that a lot. Micah Parsons might be an omen, but I remember DeMarcus Ware's first preseason game. I think he got a pick, and the ball found a way to find Parsons. So I've been saying this. I think he's going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. So that might be the omen that we needed right there. Let's see. Offensively, Dowdell. Is that how you say his name? The running back?
Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle? Yeah. I really like him. I liked him in special teams. I liked him in some of the spot duty he had last year. I really like him and hope that he finds a way on this roster.
I mean, he had 5.4 yards per carry yesterday, hit the hole a couple times, ended up as the leading rusher. And, I mean, he almost broke a 99-yard touchdown run. If he would have been a little bit quicker, he might have been able to spring something special. So I agree with you. I think he can be something that is utilized in this offense.
Yeah, not even just the offense, but just special teams. Like a core glue guy, you know what I mean? Like I really like that. Who else? Who's my guy in the slot? Kennedy. Yeah, he's been making some noise, man. He might, so I really wanted to see the secondary. Obviously, Schultz. I have a question about that later, but I thought he looked pretty good yesterday. And I mean, for the most part, although the score didn't show it, I saw the things that I wanted to see yesterday from the team. The things that I knew already, that showed up. That the backup quarterback situation is, something that's in the dark, and we'll talk about that later. But I'll direct this question to you, Elton, first. Who was your big winner yesterday, and who took a step back?
Winner, Michael Parsons. Step back, Anthony Brown.
Okay. Anthony Brown was a step back? Why would you say Anthony Brown was a step back? Now, I know why, but, just for more elaboration.
Because Anthony Brown was looking lost in coverage. And actually, for a 6-year veteran, to me, that was a no-no. Because I actually like watching Kelvin Joseph in coverage. I was like, okay, this is what I want to see. Even though I know they probably going to start Anthony Brown week 1, I don't think that's his job. Probably into week 3.
Okay. All right. What about you, Kyle?
I'll say step back Malik Turner, and the reason why was the big fumble over the middle. I mean, he ended up leading the team in receptions and receiving yards, and I really liked that. But I think if you're going to fight for the one roster spot that the wide receiver position pretty much has open right now, you got to be able to take care of the football. You can't have big-time fumbles on a play like that where it was a long conversion and then getting there. I mean, the easy answer for a step back would be Ben DiNucci. I think step forward would be a Garrett Gilbert, because he stepped in, went 9-13, had 100 yards or so, and ended up looking like a backup quarterback. He looked like somebody that was confident enough to step in there and fill in some spot duty. That's something that I think you were waiting to see from Gilbert, and you finally got a chance to see that yesterday, and he did play pretty well in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think the step up to me was Boss Man Fat on the outside. Because like we talked about, Anthony Brown is the veteran, and he possibly would. And Kelvin Joseph, for the people who don't know who Boss Man Fat is, I'm going to give him his rap name. But I think that with Anthony Brown looking lost in coverage and getting beat on some third down, on a third down or two, I think that they drafted this guy to be ready. You know what I mean? And he's going to have every opportunity, if he's ready, to go out there and start. So I think that he did well enough yesterday to where it's like, okay, I can trust you a little bit. Let me see more, but I'm happy with what I saw. step back, like you said, Ben DiNucci. I mean, he's this is his second year with I guess in his first off season, and I expected him to look a little bit better. Because when I watched practice footage that you guys provide us, it doesn't look like he throws like that.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think that he got in the game and maybe he just reverted back to just bad tendencies. That's what it looked like to me. So that's why I think he took a step back, because I know Mike McCarthy had to dress it up and say he took some interesting angles. You know what I mean? He had to play the politician. But
It took a unique angle.
Yeah, unique angle meant like your feet look terrible, but it's okay. I think that those are my guys right there, and that's a segue into the next question. And I'll direct this to you, Kyle. Backup quarterback. Do you think we're okay there, or do you see the Cowboys possibly making a move to maybe push Gary Gilbert a little bit?
I think they are. I think they feel like they're okay there. I really do. I think they do have a lot of faith in Garrett Gilbert. Should something happen to Dak Prescott, I mean, we saw it last year. Whenever when Andy Dalton got hurt in Washington, they brought in a guy mid-season. I think there's a chance that you see that again, but I think at the moment Gilbert's the guy, and I think he's still competing against the rest of the league right now. And we've said that a couple times on our show, is that he's not really competing against Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci. He's competing against different backup quarterbacks across the league right now. And he did well enough yesterday that I think he could definitely step in, especially with more time. I mean, that was still the first preseason game. Everybody's starting to get a feel with it. And we're going to see him, of course, tomorrow against the Rams a little bit. But yeah, from what I've seen so far, I think he's your guy at backup quarterback. And then, of course, he'll continue to grow into that role as well.
And I'll tell you the thing that I was more impressed with out of anything is that when they did send him blitzes, he knew where to go with the football.
Yeah.
He made a really good throw to Schultz early in the first possession, where Schultz ended up getting a nice little chunk play. So that's one thing you want out of your backups, to be able to know where to go with the football during the blitz. So I thought that was outstanding from him. The command too. A lot of people don't talk about that with quarterbacks. They like to see people who just go out there and sling it, but they don't know what command is, being able to, make the offense yours, know where people are going, direct, be able to call out protections, be able to call out audibles. I thought his command was pretty good yesterday. He looked like what most of us last year, what we were saying, put him in instead of Dalton. I was one of those guys. I'll admit that. But like you said, first preseason game. I was pretty impressed with what I saw. What about you, Elton? You there, Elton? Did he freeze?
Uh-oh.
To me, I don't personally think. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, he kind of froze a little bit. Okay, yeah, he got disconnected.
There you go.
Man, wherever he is, man, it must be worse than where you are. But
yeah,
you haven't froze yet, so I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I don't know how this is holding on. Honestly, I'm a little surprised in my own right.
Okay, I think we got him back. Are you there now?
Yeah.
Don't move, man. Stay right there.
No, because I was saying I don't think they're gonna do anything to get back up QB. They are gonna hope that stays healthy for 17 games and stick with Garrett Gilbert. But they actually need to find a third guy, because I'm not a fan of Cooper Rush, and you know what I think about Ben DiNucci.
Yeah. I mean, is there a possibility that they go with 2 instead of going 3?
They would go with 2, I think. I think they would go with 2, and then they would have it as a Ben DiNucci still in that like practice squad role where he's still doing the developmental stuff. So like if that's the plan, then I'm fine with it. But I think you're going to see 2 active quarterbacks on any given day.
Yeah, and that's probably where I'm at. I probably like that a little bit better. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And Kyle, I know we're on limited time, so I'll try and get it through pretty quick. But like Schultz had a pretty solid outing yesterday with Jarwin being, back. He didn't make the trip. Do you think at this point it's Schultz's job to lose, or do you feel that they're just playing it safe with Jarwin and they know he's the guy?
I think they're still playing it pretty safe with Jarwin overall. I think you'll see him in the preseason. Maybe a little bit limited action this next Friday with Arizona. But I think overall it's going to be a split tight end room. I think Dalton Schultz has more than earned a couple different outings, and we were even throwing around last night, kind of off the record a little bit, but we were throwing around what's the possibility of Dalton Schultz coming out and making a Pro Bowl, because he had a Pro Bowl caliber year last season over guys that ended up in the Pro Bowl. So I don't know. Maybe he does somehow sneak into that starting lineup and then gets a lot more playing time than he has. But I think at the moment, Blake Jarwin's still your number one tight end. But there's going to be some definitely closing the gap overall.
Okay. What about you, Elton?
Honestly, I actually think they want to keep Jarwin in because he's the more explosive athlete. But to me, Schultz look like Schultz look like the better all around tight end. So I think he's eventually going to be his job, but I think they're going to give Jarwin every chance to win it.
Okay, gotcha. So I got a question specifically to Kyle, and then we're going to go to fan Q&A. So you guys get your questions ready if you have any questions out there. Do you have any updates on like Amari, D-Law, or any others that are injured that you can share with us that that won't get you in trouble?
I can say what I know, I think, because it's been pretty out there, at least in terms of Amari. We got a chance to speak with him last week, and he said that he was really feeling good. I mean, he's still a little bit away. He still thinks he can get in for the preseason. He's still on that PUP list and dealing with a right ankle issue. And basically, he said he had two surgeries in one. The initial injury that kind of bothered him at the end of last year, they went in to clean that up, and then they saw something else, so they cleaned it up in general. And the second one was really what he's been dealing with. It's just like a bone swelling, and that's really it. He's able to run on it. He's been doing some sprints. He looks really good out on the bands and in the drills that he's been running in Oxnard. So I feel very confident that Amari Cooper is going to be ready for that September 9th matchup against the Bucs. As for D-Law, he's even more advanced, I think, than Amari. They've already taken him off of the PUP list. He could go out and practice tomorrow if he wanted to. Now, they said that they're going to be a little bit slower in terms of the ramp up for him. They're going to take some time to get into it, but he's able to start getting into football action, I think, over the next couple weeks. And we probably won't see either one of those guys until after the Arizona game, and most likely not before the Texans game in that second week of the preseason. But we're going to have some fun watching them, I think, work their way back into things. And then, of course, on September 9th, I think they're going to be ready to go.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to see if there are people out there who would like to ask questions. And then we'll let you go, man, because we know you are a busy man. And, you're working with, the top brand in the whole world, as far as sports and entertainment.
It's training camp for you. I mean, we don't have – it's crazy how little free time we have kind of going around. And I'm glad I was able to get on, of course, and talk with you guys a little bit. But, yeah, training camp's been it's been a busy time. There's a reason they put you on site, because they don't want you wandering off and having to deal with everything else. They put you in a hotel room and make sure you have time to go work.
Well, look, I'm going to put you on game. Be like Jimmy Butler. Get you a coffee machine and start charging $20.
It's true. It's true. It's almost like being in the NBA bubble.
Yeah, exactly. So Kathy asked a question, and Jalen was out there last night. What did you all think of his play?
You want me to start it off, or you want Elton to go?
Sure. Go ahead.
I don't know. There wasn't really a whole lot to say about Jalen, I think, last night. I mean, how many snaps did he end up playing? He played 3 snaps, 2 on run defense and 1 in coverage. Didn't make a play, and there was one play. I think it was actually the first play of the game. He kind of ran into his own teammate a little bit in the process. So it was a super small sample size, and he was out there for a little bit, but we didn't really get a great chance to see it. I think the most important thing to watch off of what we saw last night about Jalen was that all 3 linebackers started on the field in the first drive of the game. You had Michael Parsons out there, you had Leighton Vander Esch, and you had Jalen Smith out there for the first drive. You're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. Mike McCarthy talked about it a little bit ago, said that those guys who played one drive, 2 drives, they're going to be the primary players going up against the Rams tomorrow. So we're going to get a really good look of what Jalen Smith looks like on our broadcast and our coverage of tomorrow's practice, because that's where you're going to really see what number 9 can do.
Okay. What about you, Elton?
To me, on the fumble, he was still hesitating at taking short steps, which is why Michael Parsons read and reacted and actually got the fumble, where actually Jalen was really in better position, but he is still hesitating. He isn't trusting his eyes from what I can see.
Yeah, I tell you the best play he made, or not the best play, but I at least know he can hit, because he almost knocked Kelvin Joseph's beak off last night. But that also let me know Kelvin Joseph is ready, because he got right on up, and I'm glad, So, but I think the most important thing that I really like is the chemistry amongst the linebackers, because the first person to Micah Parsons when he picked up that fumble was him. So that's something that you want to pay attention to as well. It's not just the plays that you make on the field, but it's the camaraderie and the chemistry that comes with it. So Micah Parsons looks up to Jalen Smith. He looks up to Leighton Vander Esch. So I think that that's big for his development coming along. So that's the big thing that I took away from his play last night. Not necessarily anything that he did on the field, but being the first to congratulate and wanting to be he wanted to celebrate. I really like that at all. I really like that a lot. And I know a lot of people hate the swipe and all of that type of stuff, but the way that I look at it is I'm not necessarily a big Jalen fan, but the guy almost couldn't play football. So I think that he's very grateful each time that he's out there, he makes a tackle or he makes a play, because he wasn't supposed to be there. So that's one thing that I take away
Great
from
point.
it. Doesn't mean that I think Jalen's the greatest player. I know Jalen misses plays and all of that type of stuff, but sometimes you got to put things in perspective. And we got another question from Jack. Seeing the D-line play, who made you excited?
Ooh, that's a good one, because there were a couple guys that got me excited. I thought Osa Odigizua had a couple pressures that were really nice. I thought late in the game we saw a little bit more of Rondell Carter, and then also
who's the big tank up the middle? I'm drawing a blank right now. But
Quentin Bohanna, yeah. Dorrance Armstrong had a pressure in there, hit the quarterback a little bit. Zerk Kamara was the name I was thinking of. He came in, and I was kind of told initially by one of the coaches that, hey, watch out for him late in games, because he's going to be going up against these 4th string guys on the other side, and he's just better than the 4th string guy. So I think they have a lot of depth at that position, and it's something that the Cowboys are excited about. It's something that I think fans should be excited about, because, man, they've got a lot of depth there. And just as a whole, you held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 2.5 yards per carry and only 76 rushing yards all night. That's 2 thumbs up in my book already. I can't really fit them in the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did a really nice job in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, El?
I actually like Gallimore. Gallimore was my guy yesterday.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Ready Red says this question, and I kind of like it, or it's more of a statement, but it's like, we need a mobile backup QB. How do you guys feel about that?
You got it, Elton.
I don't really think so, because I mean, you were like a guy who actually can do the bootleg sense on that's going to be a staple in our offense. But as far as a true mobile, no, I don't believe that.
I think there's some truth to that because at least in the preseason, you're seeing guys run for their lives a little bit. I mean, Ben DiNucci certainly ran around and was under duress for much of the night, and then Cooper Rush really kind of got banged around there as well. I think there is a little bit of truth to the fact of having a mobile quarterback, but you got to think about it in this regard: is yes, last year was a worst case scenario in terms of the offensive line. And even then, I think you had better protection up there than you did it with the second string quarterback and the third string quarterback had last night. Basically, the offensive line you started with Garrett Gilbert was the offensive line you played with a year ago with just the addition of Lyle Collins, and then you subtract Zach Martin. The rest of the guys up front were the same guys that were in at offensive line last year for the majority of the season. So um, I think overall, if you have a confident quarterback, I would rather have that than have a mobile quarterback. But I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, and for me, it's not necessarily. I think there's not necessarily mobile. I think more dual threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a
Like
great
the guy
point.
that I was impressed with the most last night out of any player in that game. I was real. I was really high. I walked away from it. He wasn't even in a Cowboy uniform. It was Josh Dobbs. I really
Yeah.
liked Josh Dobbs yesterday. And for me, if the Steelers would take a late round pick, I like maybe like a sixth. I might think about giving that up to go get him and see what he can do. See if he can push Garrett Gilbert or whatnot. Because I mean, they already. How many quarterbacks do they have?
You got I was about to say you may not have to give up a pick. I mean, they've got Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, and Dwayne Haskins, and there's Josh Dobbs right there. Now, if Haskins or Dobbs doesn't work out, why not? Yeah, make a call, see if Josh Dobbs is there. He was taken in the same draft slot as Dak Prescott, so that's something at least. I mean, right, an SEC quarterback in the same draft slot, that's got to mean something.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the reason that I say trade you offer maybe a late round pick is because you might not want him to go on the market. You know what I mean? You might want to just go ahead and get him, and you feel like it might be worth, going ahead and do it. So that was a big, thing for me last night. I really was impressed by Josh Dobbs and how he was able to make, reads like we talked about against the blitz. And I mean, I thought that he was the second. I thought he was the best quarterback that they had on in the Steelers uniform personally, but
wow.
They obviously by that quarter they didn't.
Look at us solving all of the Cowboys issues right here on the stream. How about that?
But yeah, I know you have to go, man. So before you go, can you tell everybody your social media platforms where they can find your work and all of that type of stuff?
Yeah, so catch me at Kyle_Youmans on Twitter. It's literally the same thing. Oh, let me line it up. Boom, right there. It's that on Twitter. It's that on Instagram at the same time. So you can go find that whenever you want. And then tune in tomorrow on DallasCowboys.com across the interwebs. We will be streaming the Rams practice beginning to end. Cowboys, Rams streamed broadcast beginning to end. I'll anchor all the coverage. We'll have Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Nate Newton, and Isaiah Stanback out there on the desk here in Oxnard. And we're going to have a really cool setup. It's going to be really well done. And, man, we're excited to show you practice as much as we're excited to see some of those matchups with the Rams coming down the road and meeting us in Oxnard. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's be real. You guys are broadcasting it because you want another fight to happen, huh?
And that's the thing is no, but also it would be entertaining. I don't want it to happen because then our practice would come short and then I would have to spend 40 minutes talking about whatever to fill TV time. But yeah, I mean, the last time the Rams did come in 2015, there was a fight. So maybe you see a little scuffle.
Yeah, absolutely. But I appreciate you for dropping by. And what time you guys? What time is the practice again for the people?
Yeah, so 5 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're out here on the California side, and Apparently, there you go. Okay, there's going to be a lot of fans out there. It's going to be a packed house, and we're going to be a lot of fun.
All right, thank you. Well, appreciate you for stopping by. I'll be in touch, man. You got to come back on here again. I got to probably get you and Rob, and I told my guy BJ Nix that we get him on here, and
There you go.
guys, yeah, I definitely would love to have a big show with you guys. Appreciate you for stopping by, and you're always welcome.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all, thanks for having me, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, man. You got a couple minutes to hang by?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. So yeah, that was surreal. Being able to talk to a Cowboys staffer. But what's going on with you, man? You've been on hiatus, man. Where you been hiding, bro?
Ooh, you already know. Life has been crazy this year.
Oh yeah. I know. But yeah, I know that you haven't been covering too much Cowboys coverage lately. But tell the people what you got coming up this month in actually probably in about 2 weeks, man.
Probably this year I'm gonna do my pregame different. I am gonna go live with it.
Okay. All right. Cool. I wasn't talking about that though. I was talking about the Manny fight.
Oh yeah. We're gonna be doing a breakdown in a few weeks on it.
Okay. Yeah, man. Look, me and Elton, we into the boxing, y'all. We into the boxing. Y'all know that I've been doing some boxing videos, been dipping and dabbling with that. But Elton has a show we do on Thursday, so we're gonna probably break that down too. So make sure y'all go subscribe. His name is right there. Subscribe on YouTube. Tell them where your Twitter is, where they can find you on Twitter.
What is my Twitter handle?
Bruh, I don't know. It's like you found a random name and you just went with it because Twitter gave it to you.
What is my Twitter handle? Oh, it is at DC2423.
Okay, at DC2423, y'all go follow my man on Twitter. And I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Was an excellent show. I'm glad Kyle came by and blessed his presence. And I hope that he comes by again. It was a blast, everybody. But yeah, I appreciate everybody. And we out. All right. Peace.